Alright, this video is to show how we install our new power supply risers that we have for our new flat trash pedal boards. So if you have your 24 by 12 is what we've got here. We have a black 24 by 12. And this is your power supply kit. So what we're going to install is the 14 by 6, which accommodates either two pedal power 2s perfectly within inside, or we've got our new pedal power digital for the new Strymon and the Eventides, or an ISO 5 also fits in this slot. So you can get, multiple combinations of pedal power 2s or ISO 5s and PPDs, so on and so forth. So when you get your kit, this is like I said, this is a 14 by 6 intended for the 24 by 12. In your kit you'll get two of the 3.5 inch bolts that are intended for the front here, because the higher obviously creates the pitch. 3 of the 3 inch for the back holes back here. You got 5 T-nuts to match these guys. You have 3 of the 1/2 inch spacers, 2 of the 1 inch spacers, and 5 of the 1.5 inch spacers, and then you would also in your kit would have the caps to finish the holes up here once you've installed your power supply. So all of the power supply risers that we have in our flat trash line are all made with hard tops, and they're intended to use our tour grade Velcro. You will buy a Veltop pedal board of this style too. We're going to mount this on a hard top, but if you had a Veltop one, then you would use the Velcro that comes with the Veltop. And then if indeed you wanted to buy the tour grade Velcro from us to install your pedals up on your riser, you could do that. Or if you wanted it to be more flexible, then you could buy that black 2-inch industrial strength Velcro. That's the carpet kind of style stuff, and install on here. We don't sell it, or nor does it come with the kit either. We'd much rather have this mounted with our tour grade Velcro, which is also seen on the website. So once you've got your power supply riser unpacked and you've got all your parts accounted for, you're going to want to lay the 2 holes up on the front. And this, once again, this applies to the 16, or excuse me, the 14 by 6 risers, and then we also have a 16 by 8 or 16 by 7 riser that also goes in there. And then we also have a small riser that you'll see on the site that's it's an 8 inch by 5 inch, and it's been intended to mount just one pedal power. Like I say, in this scenario we're going to mount this 14 by 6 for 2 pedal powers. So the first thing you want to do is mount it, put it on the board and flip it around towards you. If you look on our pedal boards, they have a aluminum lip from the shell that goes around here that is in perfect square. So if you take the riser and you force it into that corner right there and clamp it and get ready to drill it out, obviously if it stays clamped in the exact same spot, it's going to line up perfectly square to the edge of the lip of our pedal board. The reason, if somebody buys one of these from us, they have the option of buying just the kit and installing it themselves, or you can specify when ordering that you want the riser installed from Trailer Trash Pedal Boards. When we do our installation, it's always going to go into this corner right here. This is our standard spot because it's going to give us the most out of our real estate. However, if you're a left-handed player and you want to mount this over on the opposite side and turn your whole entire pedal board so that your wah or your volume or whatever is laid out on the left, you can turn this whole power supply riser and pedal board into a pedal board for a left-handed player, or you can scooch it anywhere that you want. If you're going to be doing the mounting of it, just make sure that this edge up here lines up perfectly to this edge right here, and it'll always mount square no matter where it goes. So having said that, we're going to pull this guy up right into the corner as okay, now that we got everything nice and clamped in right up around the edge here like we had talked about, and the next phase is we use a corded drill. It has a higher RPM, so it has a cleaner cut. The catch to doing these guys is the holes that are in the riser are intended for a 1/4 inch bit, and the holes that we want to use for our T-nuts have to be a little bit larger, because this is a 1/4 inch and it doesn't quite have enough tolerance with the 1/4 inch bit to allow the T-nut to be pounded in. So once again, We really want to make sure that we're going straight down through these. We'll use a hand drill today for the people that don't have a drill press. Some people might want to make these with a drill press because they would score them, use a drill press. You know you're getting straight down through the board. So it's really, really important that we're getting straight and that we're not cocking these holes off to the side, because we want them to be as dead straight, because when that T-nut gets pounded in from the back side, that's what sets these straight later. So the straighter the hole going down through the hard top will also set the T-nut straight later. So we'll drill all these out with a 1/4 inch bit, right straight down through the top hole and nice and straight. Let the drill bit rip wide open. This is a corded drill, so it has a real high RPM to it. So we want it to cut through the hard top. This also all applies to the vel top, because the vel top will drill just like what we're doing here, with this clamped on here without running or fraying or doing anything funky to you. So just keep your drill nice and straight. You notice you'll see me letting the bit cut through each phase. This is real high dollar hardwood that our tops are made out of. Even it's as high a grade as cabinet grade birch. This is really, really good, expensive wood, and you can see the bit slowly going through the plies and cutting. It's important that you let the bit of the drill bit do the work at a high RPM, because what it does is it cuts it clean out the backside of the pedal board itself without blowing the wood out and making big chips back on the other side. Okay, so here's the next phase. We want to get all our crap out of the way. And then do keep in mind that if you're doing this, if you're installing this on a vel top, any work that we do on our vel top pedal boards, we always take this the blue, like this kind of stuff, this blue painter's masking tape, and then we cover the Velcro top with it as you're doing the work. Once you get all your holes done and all of the sawdust has done all of its stuff, take and blow it off, and then peel your stuff off and then vacuum it. If you don't take that step with a vel top, this sawdust can really get dug in there. It'll take you 45 minutes or something with tape and stuff to try to get out of there. So if you cover it first, you'll have a lot better luck. Hard top, obviously not that big of a deal. Just blow it clean. All good. Okay, so everything's been drilled for 1/4 inch. The holes that go through the riser themselves, we want them to stay at 1/4 inch, because it won't allow these bolts to slop around. We don't want any kind of slop on there at all. So when these things get tightened down, they are rock and roll dead, really, really solid, you know. So okay, so we can unclamp this guy. All right, and then get our riser off the side. And now the next phase that we want to do, if you were to take just the 5/16 inch drill bit and put it back in this, you would more than likely see a little bit of chipping to the top of the hard top, and we want to try to alleviate that as much as possible. So what we do is we take the 1/4 inch bit, still in the same drill, and run it in the hole, and then wallow it out. You can enlarge that hole on both sides with your drill bit, and then flip it around and do the same thing. Go ahead and just leave the 1/4 inch drill bit in there, pop it in here, and wallow those holes out a little bit, round them out a little bit. Like I say, they'll look a little oval because you're not doing that great of a job. What you are doing is you're widening out the section that we need to put the 5/16 inch bit through, so that it doesn't have to cut so much of the hard top from the top side, which indeed, if you were trying to cut all of that at one time, you could end up with some pretty substantial chipping on your hard top. A little bit of chipping on it is not bad, simply because these spacers that we use for our risers posts are really wide. You know, they're real wide. So if you get a little bit of chipping around the hole, this is going to cover it. So anyway, so we have reamed everything out with our 1/4 inch drill bit. Now we're just going to gently go back in with our 5/16. Alright, so what that did is made those holes open up just enough from the backside so that when we put the T-nuts in, they go in a little bit more comfortable without having to push wood. If you don't take that stage when you pound this T-nut in with your mallet, it has with just a 1/4 inch hole, you could accidentally push this wood up and cause this to crack from the backside when you're smacking it in. But the fact that we've brought these and graduated the hole up big enough so that the collar of the T-nut will fit down in the hole from the backside, well, it reduces that risk on that. So we have a real heavy pedestal in our shop that we use to build pedal boards on. This sucker weighs quite a bit, and it's nice, especially when doing this kind of stuff, because we want a real nice solid surface to pound our T-nuts in with. So with your mallet, get your T-nuts centered up on there and just put them right in. Nothing to it. Get all these guys set. We want to get the T-nuts in nice and all the way to the bottom of the wood. Pound it dead flat everywhere. Simply because we don't want them to be influenced in one direction or the other. We want them to be flat with this so that when these big bolts go up through, they come out straight on the back side. So now all of the we got everything mounted for these guys here. So the next phase that we have here is to just line your stuff right back up again. If you put this riser back over the top, right back into that corner following those contours, and you look down inside there, you will see that all of the T-nuts match up perfectly to the holes down in there. You'll have no problem threading them in. So what we do is we take the 3.5 inch bolt. You want to run your 1 inch on first, and then your 1.5 inch on. Once you've got it up there, then you have a cordless drill with a Phillips tip in it. Just get the thread started. That's it. You just want to start them. Same thing. Do both of the front ones first. So your 1 inch goes on, then your 1.5 inch goes on, and once again, just start everything. It's kind of like putting a tire on a car. You want to just slowly tighten things down. So then you go to your smaller 3 inch bolts, put a 1/2 inch spacer on and a 1.5 inch spacer on. Same thing, just run it right down, get it started on the T-nut. Alright, so now once all of the spaces are installed and they're mounted, all you want to do is get the head of the screw down recessed inside. All of them, all 5 of them need to be just right down inside of the actual hole on the riser. So just get them a little bit snug, don't over tighten them. Make sure everything is below the riser. Okay, so now those guys are below. If you don't take this stage and you start tightening things down and this is not below that lip, the part of this, the head of this bolt will catch the side of our hardtop and it'll cause it to chip a little bit, and we don't want that. So, having said that, everything's in. Just go back through and slowly snug everything up. So once everything is all snugged down and good, this thing is like a rock on here now. Then just wipe off the area from the sawdust that you were working, and then use your caps that we provide with your kit to go back through, install over the top of all of the bolt holes. And that's it. That's how that guy goes on there. Like I say before, this one is intended for 2 pedal power 2s, fit perfectly in here, or in this situation I have a pedal power and a pedal power digital. So if you're going to put these guys on, obviously you want the IEC section headed off the front of the board so that where your DC cables come back in. We use our tour grade Velcro, and then we would just slide these guys in with the Velcro already on and just stick them right down. And if you want to try to run it down the riser with the hot heated Velcro, then you can slowly get it into its spot, set it down, and it will stick precisely where you want it using our tour grade Velcro. Another option that you have on these is if you're the one that's doing the install on the riser, you can actually drill the holes, mount the T-nuts, and then based on where those holes are at in your pedal board, you could literally mount the power supplies first, knowing that you've got a good solid stick exactly where they go, and then mount the riser around the power supplies. All you have to do is just pay attention to where you put the holes and where you put the T-nuts, and you can see how much tolerance is left on the down posts that we have here, that you could mount those and then literally just put this right back over the top. So that's the deal on these guys. This is a finished 2412 with a 14x6 riser. And so is this. And this is one of our new white ones in a 24x12. This is the same riser. And then we went ahead and installed the power supplies on here. So this has an ISO 5 and a pedal power 2 already hard mounted with our tour Velcro. It all mounts in there rock solid. It won't move at all. You can fish your DC cables right straight from the face of this. You can get to your sag functions on your pedal power 2. Very, very seamless. Just run the DC cables out. You can run the DC cables out to the pedals that are up here, and then after you're done you can dress them to our down tubes. You can use zip ties, or you can use Velcro ties, or whatever you want, but these are really slick as the cables, if you're thinking about maybe you've got, say you got 3 Strymon pedals on here and they're all going to go to a pedal power digital, you could plug all of those DC cables in and bring them right off the side of this down tube and zip tie them right there. Once you've got them around dressed in, and they're right into their spot right there on the power supply, just take the slack out, dress them down, and just tie them right off to our tubes as they come down. Super, super slick. Here's also a 28x16 with a hard top, and then this is our largest power supply riser. We call it the 403 riser. It's made specifically to accommodate the MXR 403 power supply. So the cool part about our power supply risers is that there's no down post up front here. There's not one needed. This is super, super strong, especially with this one down tube back here. They are just like, you can kick them all over the place and they will not come loose or bust. But the same thing applies. You can just take your power supply and just set it right in there. We put it in there like this so that the text on the power supply would read straight, so it looks more like a product. If I was mounting one of these for one of my customers, the MXR 403 has the IEC connections coming out on this side of the power supply. So if you can envision this power supply being twisted around and mounted upside down, so this text on the front right here is upside down, what that does for you is it allows these IEC connectors to come right out the side of your pedal board, right out the side of the power supply riser, which is super slick. Very, very easy to do. So this is our little small 8x5 riser that we have that's actually kind of designed around putting one pedal power 2 in it. If you can imagine, you can slide that guy right up underneath of there. Right there you can add on whatever you want to add on up here. This thing actually fits like an Eventide pedal perfectly. If you wanted to have just one up there that maybe went to your effects loop of your amplifier that didn't have anything to do with the main signal flow down here. One of the cool things about this little small riser, and it applies to all of the risers that we make, but the little small one here in my opinion is pretty cool. If you could imagine, say we had one mounted here right now, okay? And this did have an Eventide pedal on it, say, and we had our pedal power 2 mounted underneath of here. One of the cool parts about these things is we could actually add another 8x5 right next to this on the same pedal board. For sake of simplicity, we'll remove this one and show you what's possible with our power supply risers. Get another count on our risers on how we put them together. Now let's say that you wanted to add another component over here, but say maybe it was a wireless, like a half rack space piece. A lot of the rack mount pieces, you know, they're going to fit. They're going to be, you know, 8 inches, you know, somewhere around that range, 9 inches, right up around there wide. So if it had to hang off a little bit, that's not going to be a deal because the Velcro would hold on the surface. But the cool part about this is, say if you had a rack mount piece that you needed to see the window on the front, or you had a wireless, this is real nice primary example of using a wireless. Say you had your Eventide pedal pitched this way for playing, and then what we do is, say if we're going to mount this here, but we don't have any holes, so we'll just mount it here. We'll do the same thing, but this time we'll flop everything backwards. So we take our 3.5 inch posts, we put them on the back side here, so we cause a reverse pitch of the product. So if we put our 1 inch on, our 1.5 inch on, and just get these once again just started down into your T-nuts. Same exact process, we're just reversing all of the posts to cause a reverse angle of the riser. Same thing, just get the screws down below the lip before you tighten everything. Make sure everything's fitting real good. And then go ahead and just tighten everything right back that up. So now if you could imagine, this has been rock and rolled down, you know, it's nice and solid. So in our original thought, we were going to have this with one Eventide pedal on it, or a couple Strymon pedals, or whatever we wanted. And then the next one on the next side can face in the opposite pitch direction. That way your wireless is there. When you're in a play position, you actually do have sight line of the LED readout, if that's something you require. Or maybe you have like just a little half-space lexicon delay or something like that that you really like in your rig of your effects loop of your amp or something. This allows you to mount your other riser backwards. So this applies all the way straight across the board on the entire product that we make now with our flat trash line. If you could imagine, maybe we were building on a 30 by 18, which we have 30 by 18 flat trash, and then you could put on the large MXR 403 riser that we put on here. Even down after that, this is where you could mount this guy backwards. So you have a whole gamut of pedals up here with your MXR power supply underneath, all your pedals here, and then maybe down in this area, cocked backwards, you have your wireless unit mounted on there. And this could be completely modular as well. You could make these so that they're removable, so that they're twistable, whatever you want, which way that you want to go. So anyway, there you go. That's the new flat trash line and our new power supply risers.